Hey everyone, and welcome back to Token Talk. Today I wanted to go over a quick update on Jasmy and just go over kind of where we're sitting at within the market. We have seen price fall down a little bit from kind of when we talked about this last. So let's go on ahead and talk some tokens. So starting out, what we can see is I wanted to look at crypto bubbles. Now we can see on the daily, obviously things are down kind of across the market. Things aren't looking super good overall. We are seeing that Sui is holding up pretty well. Sui is one that is actually, I think, kind of surprised everybody. It's kind of outperformed the entire market pretty steadily over the past several weeks, I would say, maybe even a month or two. So, that's one I would say to keep an eye on. But overall, kind of the rest of the market, obviously not looking great. We can see Jasmy here down at 6.1%. The memes obviously leading the way. As I mentioned, pretty much every time I talk about this on the channel, memes typically lead the way going down and up. So, they're just essentially they're just more volatile versions of crypto if crypto wasn't already volatile enough. So that's kind of what we're seeing here. The thing I was starting out looking at initially though was the weekly time frame. We can see we are negative, and we're negative pretty heavily over on the week. We can see, Helium, Caspa, Injective, Bonk, Brett, Ethereum, like there's a lot here. Render, IMX, like a lot of these are down all pretty heavily. We can see Jasmy down 13.9%, ICP 14. So, other than, again, Sui, Popcat is down here. My picture's kind of blocking it, but it's done relatively well. FTX, for whatever reason, is doing pretty well. I think that's probably because of the FTX payment that's coming here soon. But overall, we can see that, not a great week for crypto overall. We are seeing kind of some pullbacks. A lot of this, I think, is due to potential fears of a wider war in the Middle East. But overall, things haven't gotten too crazy yet. We can see also looking at the altcoin season index, we were starting to creep up a little bit closer to altcoin season, but we have kind of pulled back a little bit. We're still kind of in the middle territory. We're not firmly in Bitcoin season or altcoin season yet. But we are definitely leaning more toward Bitcoin at this point. Not that that's a huge thing, but overall, we are mainly kind of at the point where alts are going to bleed more than some of these more traditional blue chip cryptos, I guess you could call them. So, and I think we can see that here looking at Jasmy. So what we could see is we had that descending wedge. Let's turn this off just for a second. We had this descending wedge. We broke out, retested, came back up. It looked like we were going to be settling on this support, but then quickly kind of broke back through this support immediately right through it. And then we've kind of settled on this point of support that we've been seeing pretty consistently over time. We've got it here, 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 a little bit here if you count this wick, here. It's been a pretty decent point of support for us overall. We do have, kind of a further one down at this point, and then kind of another one here. Below this, we start to fall a little bit further. Again, if we're looking at the volume, Jasmy volume has died off almost completely. One thing that I will also use kind of as a gauge is how many views my videos get, and Jasmy views have dropped off, I would say, relatively precipitously over the past 2 or 3 weeks or so. And so what we can see is that, just overall volume, attention, eyes, excitement, all this type of stuff is not on Jasmy currently. I think we'll get there, and I think we'll come back at some point. But overall, that's just not what we're seeing right now. And so, this is kind of, I think, a little bit to be expected. I think the biggest thing is, hopefully we can hold this level, or at least this level. If we start to drop too far further below kind of this level right here, kind of the 1.8 cent range, I think things start to look maybe a little bit scary. Again, it depends on kind of how far, we're looking into the bull run. Obviously, with this type of volume, things can turn around very, very quickly. As we can see here, this is, almost an order of magnitude greater in volume. And we could see, price went kind of nuts pretty quickly overall. And so if we start to see that volume come back, this is something that can obviously turn around very, very quickly. But again, if the volume doesn't come back, then we can potentially see this continue to just bleed down further and further, which obviously I don't think any of us want. So, ultimately that's kind of what we're looking at today with Jasmy. Overall, not a whole lot to go off of. Things are obviously, price action is come back down a little bit. Things were looking really, really good for a second. That obviously was fairly short-lived, and things have kind of come back down to some of those levels of support that we saw earlier in August and September, which isn't a great thing, but also isn't necessarily a bad thing as well. The biggest thing that we are waiting on is mainly just for volume and attention to return back to Jasmy. We can see, it's continued to trail off for weeks and months now. So overall, I think that's kind of the main thing that we're looking at and kind of that we're waiting on. So hopefully you found the information in this video useful. If you did, please do give us a like and subscribe. It really, really does help us out getting pushed further into the YouTube algorithm and finding more viewers, and hopefully bringing some attention back to Jasmy. So anyway, if you did, that would be great. To just please leave a like and also subscribe. Also, any comments, questions, feedback, concerns, whatever, anything that you have like that, please do drop them in the comment section below. I do try to reply to all of the comments. So if you have anything that you want to ask me or talk about or bring up or anything, just feel free to mention those in the comments below. Thanks so much for tuning in, and we'll see you in the next video.